We're going to talk about 3 things you can do to help work around pain related to doing push-ups. Often with push-ups, if people are experiencing pain, it's either in their wrists, their shoulders, or they're noticing it in their lower back. So I'm going to give you a coaching tool you can use for each of those. This is not medical advice by any means. Give these a try and see if they help, and if they do not, we'd always recommend that you reach out to a physical therapist to see what's going on. If you notice when you do push-ups that it's a lot of pressure on your wrists, the reason is because your wrists are in this flex position, and for some of us who lack some mobility or range of motion in that, it puts too much pressure on the wrists. So if we have clients that have wrist pain, there are 2 things that we do with them. We either elevate their hands on a barbell on a rack, because when you have your hands set up on a barbell, I can roll my knuckles forward over the barbell, which now puts my wrists in a straight or neutral position as I do my push-ups, and it takes all that flexion, the wrist flexion out, because I'm rolling my hands over. The second thing you can do, if you don't have a rack set up but you have push-up handles, there are handles you can put on the ground that you can use, or depending on your tolerance, this isn't very comfortable for most people, you can also make a fist, and now you'll notice that my wrists are completely straight up and down. There's no flex here, and I can do my push-ups on the flat side of a fist on my knuckles. So if you're having wrist pain with push-ups, try those. The second thing is shoulder pain. Something we do with a lot of people, we have these mini bands, and this yellow one is a very light resistance. We have people put the mini band around their wrists or their lower forearm, and then we have them get into their normal push-up position. They're not actively or consciously doing anything different with their push-ups with the band. But what the band does is it activates your lats and what's called your lower traps, so that when you do a push-up, your humerus, your arm, sits more centered in your shoulder joint, and so it stops irritating the front side of your shoulder. A lot of people, when they're doing push-ups, they stabilize their shoulder by letting their shoulder sit forward in the joint, and that puts a ton of pressure and irritation on the front side of the shoulder. When you use this mini band, because when you stretch that mini band, it automatically for you activates or relies more on your lats and your lower trap, which are in your back, to do your push-ups, and it helps keep pressure off the front side of your shoulder. So if you have any shoulder pain with push-ups, grab a light resistance mini band, put it around your wrists, and see if that helps. The third pain experience people have is sometimes they feel it in their low back. If that's the case, our first go-to would be to grab a yoga block, and we have people put the yoga block between their thighs. And as they do their push-ups, we're telling them to squeeze the yoga block with every muscle in their body. So not just superficially with their inner thighs, but thinking about squeezing that yoga block with all their muscles. So if you watch from the side, I have the yoga block between my thighs. I come up into my push-up position. Notice what happens to my hips when I squeeze that block. It brings my hips kind of underneath me a little bit, and now I feel connected. My core, it feels like it's the connection point between my upper and my lower body. And as I do my push-ups, I maintain all that pressure into the yoga block. And what it does is it often prevents people from getting saggy in their hips. And if I'm saggy in my hips, I can start to feel it in my low back. So whether you have some wrist pain, shoulder pain, or low back pain, give one of these coaching tools a try. And again, if they don't work, we always recommend you go talk to a physical therapist.